Hello everybody, it's a Replicator here. I've been asked by Ed Foychik to be a judge on the Sequential SummerSlam. You would not believe it, I actually recorded a full video of this and didn't actually hit the record button. So here we are again, starting from the start. I'm just going to give my opinions and reveal my top three. They're my thoughts of why I chose what. Take them as you will. This one here is good, nice establishing shot here. No real Soviet details to let us know it's a Soviet warehouse. I'd question what the purpose is of the second panel here. It's like they're all looking around. I get that, I guess, but is it needed? Possibly, possibly not. The third panel here, it gets a little bit lost in the fourth panel. I feel like this one should be more center stage. And there's no real setup here. So, I mean, you could have something in this second panel that sets up this third panel where he's got Cyclops fully locked up in his tentacles. And then you move on to the fourth panel where you have the introduction of Omega Red. And it's not bad. It's just the storytelling aspect gets a bit lost. Like this one gets a little bit lost in this panel, and it also confuses this panel a little bit because it's a little bit, it's a little bit blurred, the flow, I guess. Small note here, from my understanding, Mega Red's tentacles are rounded. Yeah, like I didn't even see this like the first time around. So here's Cyclops down the bottom here. That's the detail that got lost for me. I reckon with small layout changes, this would actually be a really, really strong contender for the getting the top three. But really good stuff, Dominic. Keep it up. Just work on what you're trying to say a little bit more in the panels and the layout of them, I would say. But good stuff. Let's have a look at the next one. Yep. Really top level art as well on this one. Generally, I'd have like a bigger establishing shot here. I like this thing with Wolverine here. He's reacting. I'd probably turn up his reaction a fair bit. Really hit the glow that he's got. Maybe add a sniff, like something's about to happen. The third panel is great. I'd probably prefer to have the tentacle coming out of the darkness. Like that's what I'm trying to think of from a storytelling point of view. If I'm Omega Red and I want to take on 4 X-Men, I want to get one of them out of the way by surprise. So that is probably what I would do. The fourth panel here is good. We see Omega Red. There are better examples of it later in some of the other artworks. So just bear in mind when you're looking at your feedback, and I'll be talking about what I like on some of the other ones, that's probably where I'd prefer it to go. But there are some really good things in here. Like I like the pop out here of his ponytail, the good action. One thing that really distracts me is this background. I'd probably twist the angle of the page so it's more horizontal, I guess, rather than so vertical. So I think you lose a lot of the impact here of what you could do. Also, one thing to note, the warehouse again doesn't really have any Soviet details, so you don't really know it's a Soviet warehouse. But yeah, good work again. I mean, the submissions, the majority of them are amazing, especially the top 10. Let's have a look at this one. This one threw me at first because I pretty much straight away dismissed it. There's some elements that I don't like on the bottom panel here. I don't know what's happening with the background here, and I don't really love this introduction of Omega Red. Like that should be like, holy hell, it's Omega Red, like that should be like right in your face, scaring the crap out of you. But these two panels here are fantastic. I love this little sniff, this angered, growly, cowly face he does, and then this tentacle grab. So he set up that something's about to happen here, and then this has happened in the next panel, which is great. If these two panels were different, this would be sensational. So Just bear that in mind. Whoever's work that is, it is great. You've got some Soviet writing here, but apart from that, there's not much to tell you. It's actual warehouse. It looks more like a lab to me. One other thing is I don't really like this Nightcrawler teleportation. I understand what you're going for, but I just don't think visually it looks great. I do like what you've tried to use it for, like how you've tried to use it to tell the story, and I think that's cool. But yeah, the first and fourth panels here just throw me. These two, fantastic. Good job, man. Let's go on to the next one. Really love this one as well. First two panels again. First two panels are sensational. I love this. You got Wolverine here up close, popping out of the panel, smoking his cigarette or cigar. You got Nightcrawler being all athletic and perched on this pole. Storm floating in. I think Cyclops gets lost here. I'd probably bring him significantly closer to the panel, or the front of the panel. I like what you've done with all the details of the background. The color palette is all great. The only problem is you don't know it's a Soviet warehouse. It looks like a normal warehouse. Second panel here is flicking out a cigarette. Storm's got the hand on the shoulder. I love the hair popping out of the panel. These two panels are great. This is where it starts to drop off for me. The third panel is straight up. He's being grabbed by Omega Red. There's no setup to that. That's okay. It's not you don't necessarily have to do it. I just think from a storytelling point of view, it's stronger if you do. I do like how if you continue into the fourth panel, he's used his teleportation to pop out of that. Really like this introduction to Omega Red. It's nice and strong. I don't know if that's the angle I would have chosen. I'll have a look at some others later in the video to see which ones I prefer. But here is where it's lost for me. You've just got Wolverine and Cyclops and Storm over here, and they have no visual impact on the panel. So yeah, I mean, first two panels fantastic. Third panel is okay if you wanted to go that way. Fourth panel has some good elements. I just don't like it overall as like an impact panel. It's the biggest panel, so it should be blowing your mind. But stylistically and color palette wise, man, this is fantastic. So I would just say, have a think about what you want to show in the panel 4 and what gives the most visual bang for your buck. So yeah, good job. Let's have a look at the next. Yep. So again, warehouse, no details that this is a Soviet warehouse. This looks like a abandoned warehouse that could be in America or anywhere else in the world. You've got a little bit of setup here with Cyclops and turning, and then you've got Storm being grabbed. I mean, I like this panel, and I like this panel. The facial expression is probably a little bit too far for me. And then here in panel 4, it's kind of like we're just in the middle of a battle scene. There's no setup for Omega Red apart from, you know, the tentacles being there. But I kind of like to have a strong introduction to the character, you know, especially when it's the first time seeing them. That's something I've been told and I've learned while doing comic books. And just a few things like, what's Wolverine looking at? Who's Cyclops shooting at? I think that if this was me, I would probably make this panel go all the way across, maybe shorten it a little bit, then have these two panels somewhere here, and then have this with Omega Red. But yeah, I mean, really good artwork too. Like it's a very interesting style. So good job again. Let's have a look at the next one. I'm just going to pause this for a second. All right, we're back. Yeah, so this one is really good. The style is a little bit messy, so I think it's hard to see the detail. This thing, if it was inked, would look really, really good. Really cool details in the first panel. I like this establishing shot. You've got some references to Soviet, warehouse here, which is good, and down on this panel as well. So he's done that well. You can always do more with this kind of thing, but you know, that's a good baseline at least. I like what he's done with Colossus here, holding up the door. Wolverine's looking good. Psylocke, Nightcrawler, Rogue. You know, this is really well done. You've also got, and this is what I really like this tentacle popping out of the darkness, popping out of this panel, about to grab Rogue. This panel here, fantastic. Rogue is up in the air. They're all looking on. She's in pain. Sensational. Where it loses it for me is this panel, because I'm just a bit lost as to how it's happened. It's happened so quickly. Omega Red is flying through the warehouse. Rogue's been thrown, and all the X-Men are chasing him. He's knocked down Colossus. So probably for me, this just happened too quickly. I would have liked to see a more imposing introduction to Omega Red, but I mean, that's personal preference. This is all fantastic, man. And I think if your style was if your pencils were tighter, as Clayton would say, this would have done really well. But it's your style. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just when you're looking at pencil work, it looks loose, and I think, you know, doesn't have the same visual impact as if the pencils were tight. But the artwork is top. The artwork is top quality. Really good stuff again, man. Well done. Let's have a look at this one. So this one surprises me. Okay, because on an initial look, you're like, yeah, that's not for me. The artwork the lines are really thick. It appears a little bit messy, but there are some things I really like about this page. Like if you actually break it down, I love these tentacles set up here. I love that you've got the tentacles going into this one, and then this panel here is probably one of my favorites in the comp. You've got Omega Red imposing, capturing, I don't know who this person's meant to be, and then you've got Wolverine here. So I mean, that's a really strong introduction. I think you could do a lot to make the panels a lot more dynamic, but the pose of this panel here I particularly like. So that's really interesting, and I don't know what else to say about it. It's not near the top 3, that's for sure. But you know, like I said, there are some things I really like about it, like these 3 panels especially. So I'd look at trying to make this panel like maybe larger and more dynamic. Yeah, it's definitely maybe even had it like half the page here, had Wolverine off to the side. But yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I like that one a lot. Let's have a look. Which ones haven't we done? We've done all those, done all those, done all those. Okay, I think it's the top 3 now. All right, so this is my third choice. There are some things I really like about it, and some things that I don't like. So I'll go through those now. So this is a really cool panel. The problem with it is it's really distracting from this panel here. I'd actually just get rid of that entirely, and just have this panel here. I like this panel here. Cyclops is reacting. Something's about to happen. You've got Soviet decorations in the background. I like that, the warehouse has got details like the chairs upside down, chains. It gives the impression that it's not a fully up-to-date working warehouse, which you'd expect. Really like this dynamic panel here with the Tentacle and Beast. One thing is you could probably even have Beast pop out of this panel here as well, like this Tentacle does, and separates these 2 panels, which is really good. And then again, you've got Omega Red here. You've got Gambit throwing the cards, which is really good. Not sure how much I love this panel. Again, I'd probably go for a different angle. like we'll see in the top one which is the one I like the most, obviously. Just a different option that you could have gone with. But yeah, some really cool things. So the two major criticisms I have are this first panel and the color palette, right? There's not much contrast in the color palette. There's too much red for my liking, and I think, you know, having this blue that you've got up here more in the background somehow would have been really nice, because you've got red here, you've got red there, you've got red in the background, you've got red here, you've got a red panel separation here, you've got red there. There's a lot of red. It needs some contrast, but yeah, really good. I reckon if you had the contrast, you did the thing with Beast, made it pop out a bit more, had a different angle on this one, yep, and got rid of this, you would have been right up there. So third place, well done. Second place for me is this panel, this page. Really top level work. Things I don't like about it, I think this barrier here, this rocky thing, is probably a little bit too on the large size. You probably cut that maybe in half or nearly half, because it is distracting. I like this setup here. All the artwork is actually ridiculously good. Really top level artwork. You've got Wolverine. I mean, maybe you could bring one of these characters forward as well. Like Cyclops is taking the lead, but the rest are kind of in sync. So maybe mix that up a little bit here. I love these two panels here, and they also lose a bit for me. Like, I like that Wolverine's reacting here, but because the panel's quite small, you lose a bit of that impact. So that's just something to consider. Again, there's no Soviet decals on this, so this looks more like a shopping mall, honestly. You've got like those type of windows that they have at shopping malls sometimes. But yeah, I mean, like the artwork is sensational, like ridiculous. But yeah, this panel here is fantastic. I love that the tentacles have wrapped around. His reaction to it is great. And sorry, I had to pause it there. I'm not sure who we're up to. This panel, the bottom panel, is really good as well. Again, we have like the three characters fairly similar in where they're standing. You could have Wolverine running in, which would add a little bit of you know, dynamicness to the page. I like Omega Red. You could probably make him a little bit more imposing again, but this is pretty damn good, man. This wouldn't be the angle that I would choose to introduce Omega Red. That's my choice though. We'll see in the number one pick what I would do, because he's done what I prefer. But yeah, this is really top level stuff. I would hire this person to do work for me. I think he's exceptional. All right, so the number one. I've got to find it. Let me pause it for a second while I get it back. So this is the number one choice for me. I think this is exceptional. You know, you can make critiques about it. Like, I like that this dynamic entry they've gone. He's got X-23 and Wolverine here. I'm not sure who the other two are. One must be Storm. Who is the other one? But yeah, I mean, there's no Soviet decals here on any of the panels. So, you know, it could be generic warehouse. You could make points about the background, you know, there not being one. In this case, I'm okay with it, because it does what I want it to do, and that's have Omega Red like in your face, like saying this is the introduction of the bad guy, and look how imposing and scary and intimidating he looks. But back to it, yeah, you have these guys popping through. Wolverine obviously reacting. You can tell he's doing like a sniffing air, that you could add some sort of sniff or whatever details to that panel here. I like the panels are dynamic. They're not flat panels. They have different angles. They're really interesting. And I like this setup panel here too. Like, you know, this is exactly what you want. And you've got the tentacle coming from behind. The woman is reacting to it. She knows something's happening, but doesn't quite know what that thing is. And then, yeah, like I said, you've got Omega Red, and doesn't that just steal the whole page? And that's exactly what you want to do when you introduce in a character. You want them to be the center focus and have them just kick as much ass visually as you can. So yeah, exceptional. I think this is the best one. You know, what else can you say about it? The artwork is fantastic. The way he's laid it out is even better, or he or she. One small thing, and I don't know if this is me being incorrect or not, this arm is bugging me. I don't know if the perspective is right on it. Like, it seems too short for me, but that's a small thing. And you could say the same thing about her neck. I mean, that is cranked all the way back. All the way back. I mean, you could make the ponytail pop out here too, just add a little bit more dynamicness. But yeah, overall, this is my favorite. I think that it's fantastic. Exactly what I would want to see if I was writing this particular page for the Omega Red Wolverine Sequential SummerSlam. I think that's all. I don't think I've missed any, but I probably have. If I have, it's not intentional. I'm thinking that I have missed one. Yeah, I have missed one. Hang on. This one. So let's call this after number one. Again, I really like this one. This is good storytelling. You've got a tank here. You could have some Soviet writing down here, or at the entrance, or anywhere, to just give you an idea that it's actually a Soviet base. But I like it. I like you've got Wolverine flicking the cigarette, but they're in different standing positions, although they're a little bit stiff. This panel here is okay. We've got Storm looking off in a direction, but what is she reacting to? We don't really understand that here. And then you've got Gambit being pulled off the panel, or into the darkness here. And this is a really good setup. I really like this one here. This is one of my favorites because Omega Red is looking imposing. You've got Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm. So this is really good work. Didn't make the top three. I would look at making the panels more dynamic. You can have things popping out of the panels just to add that extra. Make it feel more alive. You can shape the panels differently. Have, I don't know, whichever way you want to go. Have things pop out. But yeah, really good stuff. Really like Omega Red. That's really imposing. This will be really close to the top three for me. Just because they've nailed this image for me. That's why I think it should look. But yeah, that's it, guys. I hope this was helpful. Really, really, really outstanding job for everyone that's made it to the top 10. And yeah, man, like, some of these people should be working in comics. Like, they could be the next Aaron Alfici. They could be the next big star. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. Thank you very much, and I hope you find the comments helpful, and try and take them as constructive criticism, because that's what they're meant to be. Help you make a better looking story from a writer's perspective. So cheers.